Hey, beautiful people, it's Dina, bringing another daily dose. So this morning I got up and I have a really busy day of recording and just a busy day in general. So I got up pretty early and just wanted to get myself together so that I was ready for the day. And as I was getting myself ready, I'm looking in the mirror, like most women do. We start picking apart everything about ourselves. I was looking at, why is my nose too wide? Why does my hair look like this? Why do I have such thin hair? Where'd that wrinkle come from? You know, we just start picking apart everything. And I started thinking about most of my life, I have looked at myself in the mirror and not liked what I've seen. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that can relate to this. I think women struggle with this more than men. I'm not saying men don't look in the mirror and feel that way, but I think for some reason women have such high expectations of what we should look like compared to the rest of the world, and we just don't meet those expectations, so we start picking ourselves apart. And this has been the pattern of behavior that I've had most of my life. You know, I've been up and down with my weight most of my life. Most of my life I've been overweight, so that always contributed to my self-image. It didn't matter whether I was dressed up or looked pretty, you know, whatever. If it was, I always tied it to what my body image was, and I always felt like nobody was going to, you know, accept me. And it was all these inner lies that I believed. You know, and so the times that I've been up and down with my weight so much, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because it ties into the whole extreme parenting and being under high levels of stress and cortisol and being sleep deprived and not eating, not taking care of yourself. So I did that for many, many years, and I did not take care of myself, and I was kind of running on fumes. The last two episodes I recorded, I was talking about, you know, burning the candle at both ends and running out of wick. So, you know, living a very high stress life. So living a very high stress life and not managing that affects your weight. It affects your hormone levels. It affects your ability to, you know, your insulin levels, your ability to be able to even metabolize, you know, your food. And so I've always struggled with trying to figure out, like, what is the combination so that I can be healthy. And, you know, I can look at, last night my husband and I at a dinner for one of his 𝗂𝗧cie𝗴𝗲𝗁 groups, and I'm looking at the table and everybody is eating like these luscious hamburgers and desserts, and most of them were thin, and here I am trying to eat something super healthy. You know, I'm the largest one sitting at the table, and I'm always the largest one sitting at the table, and it's just that constant feeling of like, I'm just never going, no matter what I do, it's never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be able to just eat whatever I want and enjoy that, because every time I even look at food, I gain weight. So the reason why I'm even sharing all of this is because there has to become a mindset shift in this. So I'm not saying that I look at myself in the mirror and I'm just so happy with what I see, but I realize now that my image isn't tied to what God says about me. My image isn't tied to what God has called me to do, the obedience of what he's called me to do, to even show up on video. There was many years I would have never done this because I would have never wanted anybody to see me on video. And so, I was okay in public, like just with the people that knew me, but if there were people that hadn't seen me in a long time, if my weight was up, I was always worried about what they would say, like, oh, she's gained weight again. You know, and if I had lost weight, then I felt confident about myself, and I was kind of excited to see people that hadn't seen me in a long time. And it was this vicious cycle that literally affected my well-being. And I was so caught up in the self-image of what I looked like on the outside, you know, that I didn't even think about how that was affecting me on the inside. So in the world of extreme parenting or being in a very high stress life, it does affect your body. It does affect your ability to be able to metabolize food, and, you know, and so anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that for years I looked at myself by my outside appearance. And I think for the first time I'm in a season where I am learning to love myself from the inside. And then the outside doesn't look to me as bad as I thought it did before. I know that sounds kind of weird, but what I'm saying is that everything was tied to what I had to do to get myself to be a certain way or look a certain way so I'd be presentable for anyone to even love me or accept me. And that was a lie from the enemy. So even the times that I had lost a lot of weight, I've lost 100 pounds, you know, many times and gained it back. Most of those was from my doing, you know, doing this diet or this exercise or this, that, you know, what I was striving to get to. But I never looked at my inner man and how that affected my inner person. It wasn't until I healed the inner person, healed my heart, the wickedness of my own heart, walking in pride, because walking in pride still, you know, feeling bad about how you look and being so focused on our appearance is walking in pride. It is. For me, it was paralyzing me. It was debilitating. It didn't matter what somebody said. It didn't matter that somebody would say, "Oh, you're beautiful," because I still remember the little kid that was, teased because of my weight, or teased because, I don't know why people, when I was little, people teased me because I was Italian, because I was dark, because I was hairy, whatever. Kids are cruel. And that kind of sets in you, and it becomes like this basis for your identity, but God created us in his image. So there's a couple scriptures that I want to read that I really have helped me to be able to see myself in a different light. And one of them is, the first one is that he created us in his image, and so it says, so God created man and women and shaped them with his image inside of them. Inside, okay? His own beautiful image. He created his masterpiece. Yes, male and female, he created them. That's the Passion Translation. That's Genesis 1:27. He created us. He created you in his image, in the inner part of who we are. The outside appearance doesn't matter. To the world it matters, but God sees us from the inside. And so in 1 Samuel 16:7, the second part of that, the New Living Translation says, the Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Okay, and then the last one is 1 Peter 3:3-4. This is also the Passion Translation. It says, let your true beauty come from your inner personality, not a focus on the external. For lasting beauty comes from a gentle and peaceful spirit, which is precious in God's sight, and much more important than the outward adornment of elaborate hair, jewels, and fine clothes. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't, dress ourselves up or, put on jewelry or any of that. That's not what I'm saying. It's that when we're focused on what we look like on the outside and not on the inner beauty, that is where we are operating in pride. That is where we are outside of the image that God created us to be, because we're so focused on the external. And that's where Satan wants us to stay. He wants us to look at the outside and every single little flaw. And so that can paralyze you from what God has called you to do. You have a story inside of you. You have something that would be able to help somebody else walk through a hard season. And for so many years, I was holding myself back because I was worried about what people would think. I was worried about what I looked like, instead of just saying what it was that God gave me to say so that I could help somebody else that was hurting or walking through that. I was so focused on the outside, and again, I'm not saying you should show up like in curls and a bathrobe, and if you want to do that, that's fine. That's definitely not my style, but it's not even about how you show up. It's what your inner heart says about you. So there was a lot of inner work that had to be done to clear up the wickedness in my heart. So even the times that I had in my own performance, my own doing, had, gotten myself to a point where I felt like I was, I could handle being in my own skin. I was lesser of a weight or whatever that might be. That didn't change my heart. So the weight always came back on. The bad feelings came back. The negative image that I had of myself always came back with friends. Every time you lose weight and you gain weight, they seem to come back with friends. And so whatever I lost, I seem to gain more every single time. And that set a deeper root of the comparison trap and feeling ugly and all of that. God had to work all of that out in me, and I had to show up the way I am now. Not the person that I want to be someday. I had to show up now. It wasn't until I was able to just show up the way I am, flaws and all, size and all, where God is now starting to show me that this is who I truly am. So the roundabout way of trying to just get this point across is that inside is how God sees us. The heart is what God sees, not the outside appearance. But the outside appearance will line up with the heart. But the heart comes first. So you will be able to look at yourself in the mirror and not point out every little flaw. You will be able to look at yourself and be proud of yourself and not be, only going to an event or wanting to see people when you look good. So I did that for so long. I'm about to go to this big business convention, and, I wanted to lose a lot of weight for this convention. I've lost some, but I was like, I don't want to go because people are going to see me. That is where the enemy will stop you, because I know that I have a message inside of me, and I know that there's somebody out there that would benefit from what God has placed in my heart. But if I stop myself because of what I look like, then I'm the one that's operating in pride. Then I'm the one that's not working, allowing God to work through that. And I do believe that as the closer you get to God and the more your heart is healed, then I believe that the outside appearance will line up with that. You will start to really take care of yourself. And it won't be because you're trying to do it to please somebody. Every time I wanted to lose weight, every time I wanted to do something, it was because I was trying to please man, not God. For the first time, I want to please God. I want to do this because it's the right thing to do, because I want the energy and the endurance and the health to be able to carry out the assignment that God has called me, and to be able to take care of my child that is going to need all my strength and effort to do for the rest of her life. I can't be somebody that's so focused on my appearance or focused on, being able to do what I need to do because of my outward appearance. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody. I feel like I was kind of all over the place on this. But anyway, I just want you to be able to look in the mirror and see what God sees. Don't give the enemy a foothold into looking at yourself in a flawed lens. You look at yourself through the way God sees you. And how do you see that? You press in. I say this every time. You press in. You let him show you. Show your heart. Say, God, reveal the areas of my heart that don't reflect you. Show me the areas of my heart that are unclean. Help me to operate in your character, in the fruits of the Spirit. I don't want to operate out of some worldly view of what I should be. And I don't want to view other people that way either. And I as women can be kind of critical as far as when we're looking at somebody else. I don't want to be that way. I want to see people's hearts. I want my spirit to connect with their spirit. So anyway, I hope that this encourages you. I hope that you understand this is something that I'm very passionate about, and I will be talking about more. Self-image, health, all of that, because it's something that I've struggled with my whole life. And I just feel like God will use your greatest struggle, and he will anoint you for that, and will be your greatest blessing. So no, I have not arrived to where I want to be, and no, I'm not the weight I want to be, and I'm not even the person that I want to be fully, but I'm on that journey, and I'm starting to appreciate who I am, and I'm starting to be okay with where I'm at right now. And then just trusting that God will finish the work that he started. So he will do the same for you. He will finish the work that he started. It does not matter what you look like on the outside. Take care of yourself, because that's important. We're to take care of our temple, outside and inside. But it's more important to take care of the inside spiritual man first. So anyway, I know this went very long, but it was just on my heart. I really wanted to share this with you. So I just pray that you have an awesome day, and remember that the God of the universe created you. He created you in his image. He created you exactly the way he wants you. He's madly obsessed with you, and he loves you, and I love you. And we will see you again next time.